Hi there, Dave here at Piano Amore. I'm glad to have you joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about the 4 essential 7th chords that you just got to know, okay? Now, yes, there are a variety of 7th chords. There are many more than just 4, but basically, once you know these 4, you'll find that all the others are just basically simple modifications of these, okay? In most of your sheet music, what you're going to find is that these 4 will handle the majority of what you need, so this is a great starting point, okay? Now, another thing I want to mention is every chord has a relationship to at least one scale. So these chord-scale relationships are fun and valuable to know and understand, but this session is not about that. What we're doing is we're just actually taking a shortcut approach to accessing these chords, okay, so that you can start using them right away. And the gaps of understanding, okay, can be filled in along the way when it comes to what scale goes with this chord, etc. Okay, so let's have some fun with this. Let's just dive right in. Okay, we're going to take a step-by-step approach for each of these chords. You're going to find as we move along it gets easier and easier. Okay, so here we have, I want to play a C chord. Here we have a basic C, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing all these chords with the name of the chord furthest to the left or at the bottom of the chord, which means that we're playing in root position. When you think of the word root, what do you think of? Like a tree, right? The root is at the bottom, so the name of the chord is at the bottom. All right, so here I want to play a C major 7th chord. Okay, so here's a C major 7th chord. So if we take a look at this and kind of with a step-by-step approach and just see what it consists of, we'll look at its intervallic structure. In other words, the intervals. All right, that's all we're talking about. So from this C, if we climb up 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps, that brings us to the E, right? The next note in the chord. Well, if we climb 3 more, that brings us to the next note in the chord. And that completes a C major triad, yeah? Okay. Now if we proceed 4 more half steps, that takes us to a B, the next note in the chord. And now we have a C major 7th. Now if you already know a C major chord, you'll quickly notice that this 7th is just a half step away from the name of the chord up here, right? Or down here. So the visual approach to this is very valuable, okay? So you have a C major chord, we're simply adding the note that is 1 half step below the root here. But in terms of intervallic structure, let's look at it from C, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're moving up 4 half steps, and then up 3 half steps, and then up 4 half steps. Here we go. I highly encourage you to play these chords with both hands. Let's do that from another root. Let's just arbitrarily pick one. Let's pick E. Here we have an E, so we want an E major 7 chord. Okay, E major 7. From the root, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So it's 4, 3, 4. That is a half step formula. Does it work? It sure does. With the right hand. What's a lot of fun too is to sustain these chords. Maybe using the sustain pedal on your piano, if you have that available, and create melodies with those right hand chords. Even the left hand, sustain the right. You see, my perspective is this. When we learn something, we apply it. Okay, it's not about learning a certain vocabulary and then being able to speak it. We weren't brought up that way. Okay, we were brought up speaking our language, uttering certain words, okay, and then later learning the analytical approach to it, right? But what we did learn to do was speak right away, okay, and eventually those phrases and sentences came out. Okay, so our approach here is once we grab onto a concept, let's start speaking with it. And what you're going to do is you're going to develop your ears by doing this. Let's move to, say, an E flat. Here's an E flat. From the E flat, now again, we're not counting the one we're starting on, right? So we're counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 from that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll notice again, the 7th is 1/2 step away from the name of the chord or the root. It's mathematically perfect every time you change roots. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? 12 roots upon which to form this major 7th chord. And that's what you're going to do on your own. Have some fun with them, just like we did here. And expand on that. You know, make those melodies interesting. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so from this point, if we play a C major 7 chord, we've already figured out the intervallic structure of that chord. We don't need to start all over again for the C7 chord. C7, not C major 7. C7 is shorthand for C dominant 7th. Okay, so it's a different chord, completely different chord, with only one tiny difference. You see this 7 right here? We just lower it a 1/2 step. So therefore our intervallic structure is really 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? You get to the point where you don't really need to analyze it that way. You play a major 7th chord, lower that 7th, and you've got a dominant 7th, or a C7 chord. Yeah. Let's do it on an F. Here's the F major 7. We already know how to create that. Take the 7, lower it 1/2 step. F dominant 7th, or F7. Here we are. Very nice. Very easy. Let's pick a root that we haven't. Let's go with the D flat. Major 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 brings us to this. Lower that 7.5 step, and we have D flat dominant 7th, or D flat 7. Yeah, get rhythmical with these. Just play games with it, have fun with it, dive in, you know. Let's do one more on the dominant 7th. Okay, G. This would be a G major 7th. Lower the 7th a 1/2 step. Now we have G dominant 7th, or G7. So you see it's quite easy to arrive at these dominant 7th chords once you know the major 7th chords. Now let's go a step further to the minor 7 chord. The minor 7 chord. Yes, here we are. We have a C major 7, right? We know how to get the C dominant 7th. So from the dominant 7th position, all we're going to do is make one change, and that's it. What change is that? The second note in the chord. It's actually, theoretically, it is the 3rd of the chord, because in relation to a scale, it's 1, 2, 3, okay? So from this dominant 7th chord, C dominant 7th, we're simply going to take this, theoretically the 3rd, and lower it 1/2 step. And here we have a C minor 7 chord. Get the idea? So let's go back to that G7, the G dominant 7th, right? All right. So the 1, 2, 3 of the chord. Again, it's the second note we're playing in the chord, the second member, let's say. We don't want to confuse 2 with 3, okay? When I say it's the second member, it's the second note from the left we're playing, but theoretically, in relation to a scale, it's the third. We're lowering that 1/2 step, and we have now what? A G minor 7 chord, that's right. Alright, so from this point on, let's move on to one more chord that we need to know. And this one's really easy and really appealing in specific ways. Alright, we're simply going to start over again from the root that we want. I want a diminished 7th chord. Okay, a diminished 7th. So from a C, I'm going to think 3, 3, 3. That's it. 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3 up, then 1, 2, 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3 up. That's it. You've got it. The diminished 7th. Yeah. You can imagine back in the silent movie days when all they had was music to convey emotion. What kind of a mood do you think this would illustrate? I'm just going up in half steps, right? Yeah, so from an F, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, F diminished 7th. Going down a half step. Incidentally, I want to point this out. Once you learn any chord, any one of these 4 chords or any chord at all, let's say we're playing in F major 7. If you want to play in major 7 that's 1/2 step lower, like E, just bring every chord tone down 1/2 step. That's the shortcut approach. As a matter of fact, I highly recommend you do that with a particular quality. So let's say we have E, E7. I want to go up to F7. Well, E to F is a half step, so we bring every chord tone up a half step. And we have a 7th. Easy as pie, that's it. So we have major 7ths. We have dominant 7ths. We have minor 7ths. We have diminished 7ths. Multiply those 4 chord qualities times 12. 12 roots. That's how many chords altogether? Right, 48. 48 different 7 chords. I hope you enjoy this. Please dive in again and have so much fun with these. Make music out of what you learn. Don't just play these things like exercises. Make music. Break the chord up. Some fun on your own, and of course remember, always play with passion.